You prayed, you waited, you believed, and nothing changed. So now you're sitting there wondering, is God even listening, or has he simply moved on? If that thought has crossed your mind even once, this video is for you. Because the silence of God is one of the most painful experiences a believer can go through. It's not the noise of temptation. It's not the open attack of doubt. It's something quieter and somehow worse. It's the feeling that you're speaking into an empty room, that your prayers are hitting the ceiling and falling back down, that everyone around you seems to hear from God clearly, and you're just standing there, waiting. You feel forgotten, not punished, not attacked, just overlooked. And that might be the loneliest feeling in the world. Maybe you've been praying about a relationship, a job, a sickness, a decision you can't keep postponing. You've been faithful. You've been consistent. You've done everything you were told to do. And still, nothing. No clear answer. No open door. No burning bush. Just silence. Here's what you need to understand before anything else. You are not the first person to feel this way. David, the man God called a man after his own heart, wrote this in Psalm 13. How long, O Lord? Will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? This is not a weak man. This is not a man who lost his faith. This is the same David who killed Goliath, who danced before the ark, who wrote half the Psalms, and he was crying out into silence. Job lost everything, his children, his health, his wealth. And for chapter after chapter, God says nothing. Job's friends keep talking. They keep offering explanations. But God is quiet. Not because he doesn't care. We find out later that God was watching the entire time. But in those chapters of suffering, Job had to keep walking without an answer. And then there's Jesus. In the Garden of Gethsemane, the night before the crucifixion, he prayed, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." He asked, he pled. And the answer that came back was not deliverance. It was the cross. God did not remove the pain. He worked through it. So if you are going through a season of silence right now, you are in extraordinary company. But let's go deeper, because it's not enough to know you're not alone. You need to understand why this happens. And there are 4 reasons God may seem silent, not because he's absent, but because he's working. First, God is developing your faith, not your comfort. Faith that is never tested is not really faith. It is convenience. When everything is going well and answers come quickly, it is easy to trust God. But when you keep praying and nothing moves, that is when your faith is actually being built. Romans 5 says that suffering produces perseverance, and perseverance produces character, and character produces hope. God is not ignoring you. He is forging something in you that good times could never produce. He is making you someone who trusts him without needing immediate proof. Second, God is teaching you to trust his timing, not yours. We live in an age where everything is instant. Instant messages, instant results, instant feedback. And we bring that same expectation to God. But his ways are not our ways. Isaiah 55 says his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, as the heavens are higher than the earth. What feels like delay to you might be perfect positioning to him. He may be arranging circumstances you cannot see, changing hearts you have no access to, closing doors that would have destroyed you. And you call it silence because you cannot hear the work happening behind the walls. Third, God may be redirecting your path. Sometimes silence is not a pause. It is a redirection. You are asking for one thing, and God knows that thing would not serve you. So rather than giving you a yes that would hurt you, he gives you a wait that will eventually lead you somewhere better. Proverbs 16:9 says, "A man plans his steps, but God directs his path." If you feel like you're not getting answers on the road you're on, consider the possibility that God is quietly pointing you toward a different road, and the silence is His way of creating the stillness you need to hear it. Fourth, God is working in ways you simply cannot see yet. This may be the hardest one to accept, because we want visible evidence. We want to see the thing moving. But 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, "We do not focus on what is seen, but on what is unseen, because what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen is eternal." God operates in the unseen. He is not limited to what is visible to you. The seed underground looks like nothing is happening, but the roots are growing. The foundation is being laid. The work is real. You just can't see it yet. Now here is where we need to be honest about something, because most people do something very dangerous during seasons of silence. They don't just wait. They slowly fall apart. They stop praying because it feels pointless. What's the use of talking when no one answers? So the discipline fades. The morning routine disappears. The Bible goes unopened. And then they wonder why they feel even further from God. They lose their consistency in everything else too, not just spiritually. When faith weakens, discipline weakens. Sleep gets worse. Decisions get more impulsive. The anchor is gone and everything drifts. And then they quit too early, right before the breakthrough. You see this everywhere in Scripture. The very moment they were about to receive what they had been waiting for, they stopped. They walked away. They gave up, not because God had failed them, but because they ran out of patience. Don't be that person, because here is what you need to do instead. Keep praying, even when you feel nothing. Even when the words feel hollow, even when it feels like a monologue. You are not praying to change God's mind. You are staying in relationship with Him. You are keeping the line open. Luke 18 records a parable Jesus told specifically about the importance of praying and not giving up. He told that story for a reason, because He knew this moment would come for you. Stay consistent in your faith and your daily life. Do not let the silence become an excuse for spiritual laziness. Keep reading. Keep going to church. Keep serving. Keep living with integrity. The silence is a test of your character, not a permission slip to coast. And finally, trust God's timing instead of forcing an outcome. One of the most destructive things you can do in a season of waiting is try to manufacture your own answer. Abraham and Sarah got tired of waiting for the son God promised, and Ishmael was born. And that decision caused conflict that echoed for generations. Do not build your own solution out of impatience. Wait for the real thing. Here is what I want to leave you with. The silence of God is not the absence of God. Those are two completely different things. When a surgeon goes silent in an operating room, it does not mean he has abandoned the patient. It means he is doing the most critical work, and he needs complete focus. You don't demand answers in that moment. You trust the process. God's silence is often the sound of His most serious work. It is the sound of roots growing deep before the tree can rise. It is the sound of preparation before promise. It is the sound of love that is too careful to give you what you want before you are ready to receive it. David went from the valley of the shadow of death to the table prepared for him in the presence of his enemies. In the same psalm, Job went from the ash heap to double restoration. Jesus went from the cross to the resurrection. And you are somewhere in the middle of your story. The silence you are sitting in right now is not the ending. It is not the conclusion. It is the tension before the turning point. So keep going. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Silence does not mean God has left you. It may mean He is working where you cannot see.